So what we're looking at now is an instrument approach plate, and an instrument approach plate contains all the information you need to safely fly a specific procedure into an airport. So it looks very, very overwhelming when you first start, but what we're going to do in this video is break down the anatomy of the FAA plates. So you will see that even though the information is different on each one, the components remain the same, and that's how we're going to more easily brief these plates in the air every time. So the first thing we're going to look at is the margin identification. So the margin identification is going to be all this information around the outside of the plate. And what's very important here is the valid date. We want to make sure that the plate is valid and not expired. And then we're going to come up here and we're going to confirm that this is the correct approach into the correct airport. So that's our margin identification. The next thing we're going to look at is our briefing strip. So all of this information is going to be our briefing strip. It starts with telling us that this is a WAAS approach, so we need a WAAS-enabled GPS. For this, if we want to fly the LP minimums, which our 650s are, it gives us an approach course on final of 196. You'll immediately see that because you're flying in and out of Charlottesville, that runway heading for 21 is 210, so that's your first clue that this approach is offset. Next, it gives you your runway landing distance, your touchdown zone elevation, which is the highest point of the first 3,000 feet of the runway, and your airport elevation. This note section here is empty on this plate, but normally there'll be information that we want to read in there. Then we're going to have the missed approach, instructions for the missed approach, and then a bunch of frequencies that you're going to need here at the bottom. All right, our next component is going to be our plan view. So the plan view is looking at the approach from the top, and we can see all of our fixes are marked here with their names, and we've got different altitudes and different courses that we're going to fly. What we really want to be doing when we're looking at the plan view is figuring out exactly where we are and how we are going to start the approach. So we kind of want to figure out, where are we coming from? What are the different ways we could start this approach and start to gain some situational awareness and understanding of how we're going to fly the approach. After that, we'll come down and we'll look at our profile view and our landing minimums. So this section here is our profile view. We're looking at the approach from the side. Once again, we're going to get these courses we're going to fly, our altitudes here, the names of all the fixes are marked out. We'll see, our runway here, the distances between each fix. And then we come down here and we can see our landing minimums. So this is going to give us our minimum descent altitude, or if it was a precision or precision-like approach, our decision altitudes is going to list them here. And then finally we have our airport diagram. So we've got the length and the width of the runway, approach lighting systems, the PAPI lights, the airport elevation, touchdown zone elevation, lighting. So we've got high intensity runway lighting and runway end identifier lights. All right, so bringing it all together, we have the margin identification, which is all the information surrounding the plate. We've got the briefing strip, which is all the information in this strip here at the top. We've got our plan view, where we're looking at the approach from the top. We've got our profile view, where we're looking at the approach from the side. We've got our landing minimums telling us how low we can go before we have to see the runway. And then finally, we've got our airport diagram here on the left.